Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you, and this one is from the AITA subreddit and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Calling the Police When the Parents I Babysit For Were Late? I, 16 female, sometimes babysit on weekends. My mom's coworker needed a babysitter, and she gave him my number. I agreed to babysit 3 kids from 2 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. because the parents had some party to get to. It went okay, but the parents didn't get back at 8:30. At 9, I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. I texted a few times. At 9:30, I tried calling again, and again at 10 and 10:30. I tried calling my parents, but my dad was at a work dinner and my mom didn't pick up. I tried calling the parents of the kids again, but they still weren't picking up or responding. At 11:30-ish, I called the police because I didn't know what else to do, and I was worried something might have happened to the parents too. They came, and around the same time, the parents came back. The dad screamed at me, and he's still very upset. Okay, we're going to red flag that. Edit, I called the police because I was worried about the parents not picking up or being late, and because I really had to get home, not to involve CPS or anything like that. Edit 2, since some people asked, I didn't call the emergency number, so I'm not in the US. Police isn't violent here. And I was paid up front, so not for the extra 3 hours. This was a response to a few comments. I don't think all US cops are violent. So they didn't call the emergency line. They called the non-emergency line just to basically be like, hey, I don't know what to do. This is a 16-year-old freaking kid. The question is, am I the astronaut for calling the police when the parents I babysit for were late? And they weren't just late. It was 3 hours late. Sam, that's 3 hours with no communication. She had every right to call the police worried. Yeah, and again, not the emergency line. She called the non-emergency line. If you are going to have somebody caring for your children, you have to have some way to communicate. What if something had happened to one of the kids? The parents just decide to not pick up. They're just gonna be like, we're going off the grid tonight. And it wasn't that it went straight to voicemail. It wasn't that they were out of range. They just chose not to answer. How is that even possible when you have kids to not answer when the babysitter calls? Also, how is it possible to say you're going to get back at 8:30 and then just show up at 11:30 and not even think to call ahead and be like, can you stay? Like, is that okay? We're so sorry. Arrange it. Communicate. Whatever it is, this was complete irresponsibility on the part of the parents. And it could have put OP in this position where, like, what does she say she had to be somewhere? Is she going to just have to leave the kids alone? What? I mean, and we've read a story like that before too. And in my position there, I'm like, I could never do that to the kids, but who is abandoning the children here? It's like they just dumped them in her care. And what if they never came back? What is she supposed to do? This is a 16-year-old kid that you're putting in a very precarious position. Also, person that you're asking to care for your children, I think you would offer a little bit of respect to. And then whenever they took some kind of action because you wouldn't respond, screaming at them? Wow. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. You have to communicate when people are caring for your children. You have to respond. You have to answer, because if something had happened and they just didn't answer at all, that's a choice they made. Terrible, stupid, idiotic choice. NTA for you here, OP. That's I'm so sorry that you had to go through something like that. That is, for a 16-year-old kid, scarring, I'm sure. And now anytime she goes and babysits for someone else, the adult way to approach it, or the not adult way, because these adults are idiots, but the responsible way, and the growing and bettering oneself way, and the learning by problems and building systems to prevent future kind of problems way to approach this would be to establish some kind of understanding with the parents whenever you are babysitting, and be like, okay, look, if you are not back at X time, I will call. If you are more than X time past, I will have to involve other parties. Have this system set up, and basically backup plans on top of backup plans on top of backup plans. I would think that the parents would be the ones instituting those, because they, care for their children. But as a babysitter, putting myself in a 16-year-old girl's shoes, I would feel much more comfortable if I had backup plans on backup plans on backup plans and an agreement for them to sign. There has to be some kind of structure here to hold people accountable. And this is probably something that happens a lot. People hire a babysitter, say they're going to be back at X time, and then just don't show up for like several hours later than that. It's garbage.